I'm Davy. I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Wrestling, where I review wrestling-related things, all from the perspective of a fan, not an insider. So, I haven't done an NWA event in a while, and this last week, the NWA hosted a hardcore pay-per-view. Samhain. But just to annoy some of you, Samhain. Don't worry for the rest of it, I will call it Samhain. And it was live from Cleveland, Ohio. And was hosted by Father James Mitchell. So that being out of the way, let's get into the event. The opening match, Devil's Last Dance, Ultimate Hardcore Team War. It's a long title for a match. This match came about when a couple of members from James Mitchell's Miserably Faithful wanted out of his faction. This match came about. If their team wins, they're out. If their team doesn't win, their souls forever belong to Father James Mitchell. On one team, Maxie Impaler, Judas, Magic Inc., and Alex Misery versus Mims, Dax Draper, Koa Loxameni, Gags the Gimp, and Sal the Powell. The ones who wanted out of Miserably Faithful. The way this match works is it starts with two from one team. There's no tagging in and out. Once somebody's eliminated, somebody else from the team comes in. Once all the members of one of the teams is eliminated, they can pick one of the eliminated to go back in. Weapons are allowed. It's a little overcomplicated of a match, in my opinion. And the eliminations came by pin submission or going over the top rope. When everyone from Father James Mitchell's team was eliminated, Maxie Impaler was the one that came back. Once she eliminated the following members of the other team, Gags the Gimp came back, accidentally, and he was pinned by Maxie Impaler, meaning that Gags the Gimp and Sal the Powell still belong to Father James Mitchell. But by the end of the pay-per-view, they seemed okay with it. I will give it this, it was good, it was entertaining, but the eliminations all came way too quick. Like, it felt like it was very rushed. Not to mention, I've been very vocal about when they have too many stipulations in a match, it makes it confusing, and it was kind of confusing. Even now explaining it, I'm getting confused. So, like I said, where it was entertaining, confusing, I will say it was entertaining enough to get a 3 out of 5. Yay! Second match, a loser leaves NWA match, with Rush Freeman versus Brady Pierce, with special guest referee Rolando Freeman, who promised to be impartial. But he wasn't. Towards the end of the match, he hit Pierce with a low blow. And he was about to make the count when we got the return of Matt Cardona, who came out and laid out both Rush Freeman and Brady Pierce, and Rolando Freeman. Then he pulled Rush Freeman over Brady Pierce and made Rolando Freeman make the count, so that Rush Freeman wins the match. Brady Pierce is out of the NWA. Basically, the ending was a little weird, because it was like, okay, well, which one are you feuding with? Nobody. He just came out to help with the victory and call out Billy Corgan. And Billy Corgan came out to deny Matt Cardona's request of being added to the main event for the NWA Championship that he never lost and never got a rematch for. But not only that, Camille didn't want him being a part of that main event because her husband Tom Latimer's in it, so she came out and took out Matt Cardona. So, getting to the match itself, it was an okay match, so I guess I would give it a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Fifth match, a pillar-to-post match for the NWA Junior Heavyweight Championship, which is just a Falls Count Anywhere match, between Joe Alonzo and champion Colby Carino. And of course, this match did go all over the place. Hardly ever in the ring. It even went out into the stands where Joe Alonzo used a replica championship as a weapon against Colby Carino. I don't know if that fan's lucky fan or non-lucky fan, because he got blood on his title. But it was actually still Colby Carino who got the pin outside, retaining his Junior Heavyweight Championship. This match, I will say, kicked it up a notch. It was hardcore, it was brutal, it was great. I would give this one a 4 out of 5. Yeah! Then the Rock and Roll Tag Match. The Southern Six versus the Headbangers. A team I loved in the Attitude Era, despite the fact that everybody else kept making fun of them. This match was okay. I mean, it was kind of funny how Kerry Morton got drunk so easily. Kind of showing off the thing of him being so clean-cut. But even though he got very tipsy, Kerry Morton got the win by putting his feet on the ropes, which wasn't really cheating considering it was a hardcore match. But after the match, Kerry Morton's outside, stumbling, drunk. Alex Taylor, his partner, is left in the ring with Mosh and Thrasher, and he gets a stage dive. Like I said, the match itself was just okay, but all the other hijinks going on, it was entertaining. 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then a submission match between Blake Troop and Jack Stane. It was pretty good. You know, it was two big men getting technical, so that was kind of cool. And of course, Chris Silvio there with Blake Troop got involved, but didn't really help, because eventually Jack Stane got Troop into the Trap City, it's basically a Steiner recliner, and got Troop to tap out. Like I said, it was pretty good. Enough to get a 3 out of 5. Yeah! Then for the NWA World Women's Tag Team Championship, Taylor Rising and Natalia Markova versus Pretty Empowered. This match honestly was kind of a letdown. Like, there just really wasn't much to this match. Like, sorry, but this match, watching it, I was struggling to keep paying attention to it because, again, just nothing really that exciting was going on. It was just watching a match. No real drama, a little bit of back and forth, and just went until Kylie Paige got the win, but not like a desperate win or anything. It didn't seem like at any point Pretty Empowered was in any real risk of losing their championships. I'd really only give this one a 2 out of 5. Yeah. And then for the NWA National Championship, a Burning Lake Brawl. Which is a street fight. Chris Adonis versus Thrillbilly Silas Mason. Obviously Adonis trying to get his title back still. It was another not-so-great match. Then again, that's kind of what I expect from Chris Adonis. I really have never been a big fan of him. But especially for the fact that this was a street fight, it really didn't get all that hardcore. I mean, there was a little bit of blood, but it looked like they just hit each other in the nose, and that was really it. And it ended with Silas getting the throw ride onto Chris Adonis and getting the pin, retaining his championship. So like I said, this was another one that I was having a little trouble keeping my attention on it, because it was kind of boring. Another 2 out of 5. But then finally we stepped things up with the Riddle Box match. La Rebellion and Vampiro versus the Brothers of Funstruction with Violent J. By no means am I a juggalo, but it was definitely an entertaining match. Basically a hardcore weapons match, but with presence all around the ring, each one containing a different weapon. Some of them real weapons, some of them goofy weapons, like rubber chickens and ping pong balls, or even a pumpkin. But I was kind of wishing they would have some plastic spoons. And it ended when Violent J got Vampiro in the final nail in the coffin, Vampiro's own move, onto a bed of thumbtacks and popcorn, got the pin and the win for Violent J and the Brothers of Funstruction. I wouldn't say this was like a good wrestling match, but like I said, very entertaining. This one had no problem keeping my attention. I'd give it a 4 out of 5. And then for the NWA Women's World Championship, Ruthie J challenged Kenzie Page. Again, this match was okay. Nothing particularly wrong with it, but nothing thrilling about it either. Just okay. Again, it kind of reminds me of going to an indie show and two people just go out and have a decent match, and that's really it. There's nothing to it. Again, there was no real drama. There was no story being told during the match. I hate that it sounds like I'm bashing the women tonight, but they just really didn't bring it tonight. Except for the women that were mixed in a men's match. Like, Max the Impaler brought it, but all three members are Pretty Empowered in both their matches. Nothing really. There was just a little bit of back and forth. Kind of felt a little rushed until Kenzie Page got the pin and retained her Women's World Championship. And again, I would only give this one a 2 out of 5. But then for the NWA World Tag Team Championships, a Knights of the Round Table match. It was just a tables match, but the one added stipulation is they had to be put through a round table, not a rectangular table like normal. And it was Knox and Murdoch versus Blunt Force Trauma. And before this match, all during the event, and even during this match, they kept making sure to remind us that Aaron Stevens, the manager of Blunt Force Trauma, was not there. Which made it very clear he was there. In fact, them mentioning it throughout the night, in the beginning of the match, out came Merlin, a Maid Marian, and two Knights. We knew either one of the two Knights or Merlin must have been Aaron Stevens. But that doesn't take away from the fact that this was a great, very entertaining match. Not just because it was a brutal match between these two tag teams, putting each other through a lot of tables that didn't count because none of them were round. But at one point, the Knights jester, Eric Smalls, came out with a small table that he got put through. Some people might be like, hey, that's abusing a little person. They gotta get work somewhere. Disney definitely ain't gonna give it to them. But it ended how we kind of predicted, with one of the Knights being Aaron Stevens on the stage. He came out, knocked out Knox and Murdoch, so that BFT could put Murdoch through a round table, win the match, and retain their NWA World Tag Team Championships. I will say this, even though this match was very predictable, and I mean very predictable, like we knew how it was going to end before it even got to the point that they had the match, it was still fantastic and entertaining enough to get it a 4 out of 5. Yeah! And then the main event, a no limits match for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. Tom Latimer with his wife Camille versus EC3. They ended the night great because this was a great match. These two are awesome. So the fight itself was really good, but also what some of the earlier matches were really lacking. The drama and the story being told during this match was very good. Of course, Camille was there. She got involved. She always does. But at the end of the match, out came Matt Cardona to get a little payback on Camille. But as he was about to hit her with the big boot, Tom Latimer stepped in and took the bullet for his wife, as a man should. And this allowed EC3 to pick up the win. And then afterwards, EC3 and Matt Cardona had a little stare down, letting us know these two will have a match in the future, which I cannot wait for. And then after that, of course, Tom Latimer got a few shots in on Matt Cardona for costing him the championship. Like I said, the story being told in this match, the drama in this match, not to mention that it's doing what it really should do and not finishing the story by making us want more, 5 out of 5. Yeah! So NWA Samhain overall, it was good. It was entertaining. Some of the matches were a little lackluster. There were 3 2s, and most of them were 3s or 4s. There was only 1 5. One issue I've had in the past with NWA events is it feels like, in my opinion, they put too many matches on a card. I understand NWA doesn't do that many pay-per-views, so that when they do, they want to get as many people on the pay-per-view as possible. And I understand that these wrestlers work really hard. They deserve it. But deserve doesn't always have a lot to do with it. Sometimes it just really comes down to there's only so many spots. Because when they put too many matches on a card, some of the matches feel rushed. Like the 2 women's matches, the Women's World Tag Team and the Women's World Championship, that was probably the worst thing about them, is they felt very rushed. Like, I can't say for sure, but it felt like backstage they were told, like, hey, go out there and hurry up because we got to get to the next match. That's what it felt like. The very first match, the big complex 8-man match, felt incredibly rushed. Several matches in this felt very rushed. And that's a problem. And the thing is, when it comes to a pay-per-view, in my opinion, none of the matches should be rushed. I think there's something to be said about fewer matches given plenty of time. However, the matches that were not rushed, the matches where they were given plenty of time to shine, they brought it. There were a few matches that had a little bit of trouble keeping my attention. There were plenty that had no trouble keeping my attention. There were plenty of stories being told, plenty of drama. Even though I'm not the biggest NWA fan, I do enjoy a good NWA pay-per-view, and I will do the best I can to make sure I don't go so long without reviewing another one. But overall, even though it had its big flaws, I was still very entertained by it. So if you haven't seen it and you have a chance to order the replay, I definitely recommend that. And if you have a chance to check out the next NWA event, which I believe is Hard Times, I definitely recommend you check it out. Because again, even despite its flaws, I'd still give NWA Samhain a 4 out of 5. So there you have it. That's my wrestling review this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell so you get notifications when I post new videos, and leave a comment. If you saw NWA Samhain, tell me what you thought of it. Love you guys.